All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to talk about Terence Crawford and some stories out there running around about he and Errol Spence Jr. and how Showtime boxing executive brought real clarity to the issue that Terence Crawford never agreed to fight Errol Spence Jr. Let's talk about it in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be doing a little bit of cleanup and speaking about some facts that came out about Terence Crawford and how Terence Crawford never agreed to fight Errol Spence Jr. and never had certain demands that he requested met, but that those requests that he made will never be accepted. Now, before I get into that, let me welcome you to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you are subscribed, make sure you go check that notification bell and make sure it is clicked on all so that you can know when we're talking about boxing, whether in the live streams or in the video format that we have. If you are a longtime supporter or like actually many people, a new subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for your support. Make sure y'all hit that like button and share the video if nothing else. But if you can, there's a super thanks button right down there below with the dollar and a heart sign. And it is one of the best ways to support me as a content creator and other content creators doing and continuing to put out the type of content that you enjoy or the type of content that you hate. Because if you're out there nagging at me every time I do a video, yeah, you know how it is. You must kind of like it. But anyway, let's move on into the discussion, which is basically related to Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, where Stephen Espinoza of Showtime answered some questions and gave a lot of visibility into how that fight, how the negotiation transpired and what the prospects are of the fight happening in the future. Unfortunately, though, like most things going on in boxing and in general, and specifically with things that have anything to do with certain PBC fighters like Errol Spence, Deontay Wilder, Gervonta Davis, there's a lot of moving around and rephrasing and manipulation of what has been said to suit preordained arguments or perceptions that are being pushed out there to boxing fans. Now, I don't have a problem with people pushing perspectives to boxing fans, as long as that perspective can actually be backed up in what is being said. So what am I talking about? Stephen Espinoza explained from the point of view of Showtime why the fight with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. did not happen. And it directly contradicts a lot of assertions that were made by Terence Crawford's team and other people, which was that there was never a time in that negotiation where Terence Crawford had come to terms or an agreement with the PBC and Errol Spence Jr. to make that fight. And it was not related to the fight date. It was not related to money. It was related to an issue that is called approval of expenses. Now, not transparency, approval of expenses. And more importantly, when we talk about it as relates to what the probability is or the possibility is of Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. fighting next year, Stephen Espinoza said that was an issue then, and it is going to be an issue in the future because Showtime is not going to agree to it. Now, and he goes into specific reasons about why he is never going to agree to what Terence Crawford was asking for. He says that asking for approval of expenses, Showtime is never going to put itself in a position where it has to work at the I would love to use the frame that he used, but it's slipping my mind. But basically, he's saying that he's never going to be work under the risk that a boxer is going to turn around and tell him that he cannot spend his money where he wants to spend his money. He said that specifically that he is not going to give any boxer the right to delay or reject his ability to spend money to market a fight for Showtime boxing. Now, why would that be? Two reasons. One, Steven Espinoza has a job from his employer to promote events and productions or content that they are providing to their subscribers or their potential subscribers. So if Showtime says we are going to put on a boxing match, they are going to spend whatever money they deem necessary to promote that event or promote that content to their subscribers or potential subscribers, and they are never going to allow a boxer to get in the way of that. Also, he said from a practical standpoint, if he has to ask Terence Crawford if it is okay to spend money, what happens if Terence Crawford is not available and they have to make the decision? Or they make the decision and then they pass it by Terence and Terence rejects it. How are you going to solve that tie? Now, my personal belief is that he is not going to get involved. The tie is not the issue. It's more that it is not your business. However, if you want to know what the expenses are, that is, you always get that because we have to release that every time we do a fight, especially in a scenario where somebody's getting paid out of the net. But without going over that detail in too much and hoping that you can understand the brief explanation that I gave, that tells you that Terence Crawford never agreed to all of the terms in that agreement. He was continually making additional requests. Then, and so how does this play into the fight going in the future? He did not say that we are confident that we can make this fight. He said, I'm not going to count out or turn my nose up at the possibility of the fight taking place. However, he was very clear that he is not interested in being involved in that type of soap opera again, where you are making requests. I am responding to your request. I have to wait weeks or months to hear back from you. And then when you do, you have another request. And then when you go out again, I don't hear from you for an unusually long amount of time. And then you come back with another request. Said that they are not interested in going through that dog and pony show. I call it a dog and pony show. He called it a soap opera. So that's a lot of people out here talking about how they turned it down because they did not want to give Terence Crawford control. So they turned it down and so Terence Crawford moved on because he wasn't given control. Nobody would give Terence Crawford that. He might as well, but it's an exaggeration for the sake of illustration. He might as well have said, I would like you to give me your firstborn child for me to hold in my house from the time we start negotiations until the fight is over to ensure that I know that you're going to show up. If you do not let me have your firstborn child and keep them in my house all of training camp and up through the end of the fight, I am not going to fight you. And then to say the fight fell apart because they would not give Terence Crawford control. Like I said, an exaggeration for illustration. However, it is still in tune with what Bud was asking for. Something that any reasonable person would have known he wasn't going to get. And as a result, Bud go fight Jaron Ennis and Errol fight Keith Thurman. And whatever happened, happens. And hopefully one day we can get a fight for Undisputed. That's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.